Warren Buffett, the greatest possible stock investor in the world has ever seen, man. Like that guy, if that guy invests based on value. Like Shaq said it the other day. He spoke with Bezos. He's like, you know, Bezos told him, he's like, only invest into things that are going to change the world, that bring value to the world.
Ready? All right, awesome.
Loud and clear.
All right, let's get this thing started. What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to another podcast. Still haven't named the podcast. I'm not really sure when I'm going to name this thing, but, you know, we're just going to go with the flow. Today I got Mr. Santiago Velasquez and Mr. Brandon Valdez, two great friends of mine who are in the business and entrepreneurial investment space. Wanted to get them on board, have a conversation with them, and really just chat it up, you know, a little bit of anything. I know they have a couple topics they wanted to talk about. We've been sending messages back and forth in the group chat. So, you know, without further ado, let's just go straight into it. What's going on, boys? How you doing?
What's up, guys? What's up?
Brandon,
ready.
Say something. All right, perfect. We hear you loud and clear. So audios are good. Yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, I wanted to start this thing off, man. We were talking about it already in the chat a little bit, but let's talk about this crypto dip, right? A lot of the people who watch this channel are crypto followers, so let's talk a little bit about the crypto dip. Brandon, what do you got to say about that?
Bro, so just a little bit about me. I got into crypto. I got exposed, I'd say exposed into crypto 2017. I know you were like getting fully fledged already back then. I remember I was selling cars back then. It was a different like paradigm shift, and I was just kind of getting exposed to like cryptocurrency and the investment space. So what I did learn from 2017 is that like when prices went crazy and stuff fell and stuff like that. So what I have learned throughout the years is that price has to retrace, right? So if you want to go further, like charts are like rubber bands. If you go back and you look at like different coins or pairs before they exploded, and most of the time they had somewhat of a little rubber band effect to pull back. You want to keep going further. So yeah, man, I think a lot of people are panicking right now. If I'm honest with you, a lot of people are thinking the absolute fucking worst. And I don't know if we can curse on here, but
yeah, we.
But yeah, man, it's about having conviction and what you got going on, dude. And a big thing that I do want to talk about is like profit taking. Like if you're up an insane amount of money, like take percentages out of your investments. Don't just wait. You know what I'm saying?
Have you taken profit out of your investments yet?
I have, yeah. So
Smart,
for
man.
each pair, yeah, man. So for each pair, I have an Excel sheet with exit strategies for every investment that I'm in. So I like to go pulling by percentages. So let's say price gets to first profit target, it'll be 10, 15%, whatever I have lined up for that pair to go taking my risk out eventually to just be remove my initial principal investment and then just keep letting it ride. I feel like you do that, dude, like that removes a lot of emotions out.
Facts.
And makes it a little bit more yeah, man, you remove the emotion, makes it a little bit more strategical. But yeah, dude, that dip is definitely interesting, especially like seeing stuff on social media, seeing like different like mindsets, both like from the investor side and then from like the retail side. I feel like on Instagram, you got a good feel of both.
I feel you, bro. I'm super bearish on it.
Definitely true.
I'm super bearish. Like I was telling Santi about it too. I was like, bro, this shit's going down. We're going to fucking 10K, 15K. We're going down, bro. I was ready, and then lo and behold, after we break the wedge at 30K, we go back up to 60. You know, and of course, it has a lot to do with like with inflation. They're printing out more money. The new bill that they just released, another trillion getting printed. They got the money printer going heavy, so. It's like, things that honestly I didn't expect to happen that clearly probably would led to the price wanting to continue up, almost like a manufactured bull market. I think that's the only reason why the bias was wrong. Because we said, the second that we break over 60K, we're probably going to keep going up. It's likely. But then you look at it now, we're trading at 60. We hit 69, barely made it to 70, and the market pulled back. Now, I do agree with you on the panic selling. People are probably selling off. They're thinking that this thing isn't going to go off. At the end of the day, you do need buyers. You do need sellers to be able to buy it in the market, no matter what. So people have to be selling nonetheless. I think people are just honestly scared. They see a 10% dip in the market, 20% dip in the market. They don't realize it's a correction. They're looking at the micro level, not the macro level of the chart. And I still think even though having been very bearish, 80K is probably possible. 90K. I don't know about 100. If we hit it,
you're talking about now?
It's a miracle. I mean, bro, what do you think? Like you told me. I mean, we have to. All right, if the bull market continues leading into the next 2 months, money's gonna get put into the market. I don't like. Do you realistically see 150K Bitcoin?
They're about to sign another $2 trillion socioeconomic stimulus package. Like these guys are
There you
like
go.
money's gonna have to be parked elsewhere,
I
dude.
don't see 200K. I don't see a 200K, 150K Bitcoin. I see maybe 100K. I think for it to go
But
up another 50, 60% maybe, but I don't know about 250K, bro. I mean, I hope so.
pero
We all make money on the bull run, but I don't like this. An overextended bull market comes with its own problems too, because when the jump is big, so is the fall. So
But what would need to happen for price to push that much? Price needs to fall, of course. No one, like, logically, bro, logically, no one's really gonna buy Bitcoin at 60, 50K.
you'd be
They want a
surprised.
good price range. I mean, there's gonna be the buffoon to buy 50K worth of Bitcoin, like, of course, because they feel like they're gonna be scared out of the market and they're gonna miss that opportunity. It could definitely go all the way up to 70K, hit 50, and then bounce back up. With this
That's true.
whole with this whole deal that's happening with the government system and all this imprinting of money, we are going into a limiting factor of that money is really not the issue. They're printing more money than ever, and it's going to have a massive defect of how inflation is going to grow in the next upcoming years. And people are just going to have a lot more cash to sit on, but are going to be making stupid investments.
Yeah.
No one really has the time to really take the knowledge and grasp that for themselves and make you know a smart investment of what they're supposed to do. People just feel like throwing money into the market is going to get them somewhere,
Yeah, I
and
do feel like
that's
people are
not the
coming,
case.
new people are coming into the market, and people are learning
A lot of new
about it.
people.
There's a lot. I think there's more information than ever. But what you're saying, there's definitely truth to it because it's not like the crypto market maybe we knew 2016, 2017, 2018. Bitcoin was very predictable, and with this whole double top happening, is it a double top? Is it we hit a supply level, we dropped to 58. Can we continue going further? Bitcoin isn't as predictable as it used to be. And when, Bitcoin's predictable, you know what it's going to do at the end of the bull cycle. You know what it's going to do at the beginning of the bear market. It's, the patterns are there, right? If you look at the history, the pattern is there. The problem becomes now is like when Bitcoin becomes unpredictable, right? When you can't predict what's going to happen, that's when the real problem happens because everything you used to know now it doesn't matter. It's just massive amounts of manipulation because now we're talking about institutional money coming in, even though there isn't not even nearly as much as we expect to be in the next 10 15 years. But this is the beginning of the end, right? And then also we have the conversation of is it even worth you putting money into Bitcoin, right? Because yeah, we talk about Bitcoin, but is it worth it? Because you're not getting the returns you're getting on Bitcoin like if you would have bought in 2010. You made the biggest returns on Bitcoin when Bitcoin had no liquidity and when Satoshi held all the coins, right? It wasn't until mining people kept mining more Bitcoin where eventually it started getting dispersed more into the market. But when Satoshi held all the Bitcoin and when there was no liquidity for it, it was when the best time was to buy. And now that there's massive amounts of liquidity, and then we talk about all these big players now who have 5%, 1% of Bitcoin, whatever it is. I mean, now it's a different ballgame. So is it even worth investing? What do you guys think?
Oh,
Yeah, man.
it's definitely.
Um,
Go ahead.
my bad, Santi. Kevin, dude, it's definitely one, guys. None of us are financial advisors. At least
Hell
I'm
yeah.
not a financial
Bring
advisor,
that.
and this
Yeah.
is all what we do on our
Yeah, this is our
personal
opinion
portfolio.
first and foremost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these are
Let's start
all
off with
our
that.
opinions.
Put a big banner
These
at the
are all
bottom.
yeah, these are
Opinion.
these are all of our opinions. But I mean, back to your question, Kevin. I mean, yeah, man, you hit it right on the head, dude. I think like I was speaking to some family members at a family party because I mean, I think every bull run. I remember 2017. I was selling cars at CarMax, and every old guy that was selling cars there was like, "Oh, Bitcoin, 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 I want to drop Bitcoin." So like now the bull market comes, everybody and their mother wants to start buying cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so, man. So you hit it on the head. Like when it comes to ROI, like people need to focus on like percentages and like returns on rewards, right? So like you're buying an asset that's already 60K close to its top, right? Like you got to do your risk to reward here, right? Like how long has it been at that top, right? Like there's so many other altcoins and other projects that are providing insane amounts of value that you can make your dollars work a lot further and make them go a lot longer, right? Sorry. Okay, man, I want your 2 cents, man, because I've been watching, there's some guys that I follow, the real estate investors who have been dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin at like 64, 65,000 and like buying 100K per like dollar cost average, right? Like every order is $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, buying a coin and a half, a full coin, or a coin and then a whole other half at these prices. And then what they're doing is that at these prices at 60K or these tops, they're taking loans. They're leveraging their positions, and instead of selling, they're leveraging loans probably from like buys that they had at 30, 40K, and they're taking loans on those gains. So I want your perspective, bro, as far as like, what do you think as far as risk on that, right? Being where we're at in the market, those guys that are taking loans at their Bitcoins buying at the top, right? Like because I feel like some people don't even know that you can do that, right? Like you don't have to sell. Just about Bitcoin at 20K, you don't have to sell that Bitcoin. You can get a loan, a collateralized loan with that Bitcoin, leverage that, and go ahead and get the fiat for it and do whatever you got to do. That's what just leveraging.
Yeah,
So I mean,
smart.
at 20K, it was a good price, but I don't know. Now
but you're saying that they bought in at 20, 30K and then they re-added to their position at 60.
Well, yeah. But
Gotcha.
There is not that bad, right? I mean,
here's the thing, right? Like if you're in it for the long game, I think the idea is if they're buying at 60K, 50K, they're adding to their current positions. One, they're long because they don't want to sell the Bitcoin they bought at 20. They don't want to sell the Bitcoin they bought at 30. Two, they're increasing their collateralized ratio, probably to either take out a bigger loan or to add to the loan that they already have. Because the issue comes, with a lot of these companies is, that collateralization ratio usually has to be double for you to take out. Let's say, for example, if you have 100K in Bitcoin, ideally you'd want to have only about a 40 to 30K loan on that, because the collateralization ratio is fairly high when you get to like that 50K, 60K, 70K loan, because there's only 30K in between what you took out and what your actual Bitcoin is worth. The second that your Bitcoin starts getting worth 80K, you're already being hit with, hey, add to your position, add to your your Bitcoin position, because the loan that you're going to get liquidated, right? So it's almost like a margin call. Essentially, they're calling a margin call, or really you can think about it like a stop loss. It's like you place a stop loss at 70K. They're gonna sell it at 70, right? Which is the amount that you took your loan at. They keep the collateral, right? They keep their difference, and then you keep your 70K. You don't have to really pay back that loan. So it's kind of like a stop loss. But it's smart. To answer your question, it's very smart. I think. I mean, like I said, we're not. As much as I want to be bearish on Bitcoin, you got to face the facts. Like the weekly looks great. If you look at the weekly candlesticks, I have it here. The weekly candlesticks look great, except for this week's. I mean, it looks fucking garbage. 20%, like it's a weekly candle that just goes like straight down. But overall, though, the market has been relatively healthy, and week over week we have been seeing growth. So I mean, I don't know. I think personally, them taking loans out at 60, smart move. Or really, let me say this: buying more Bitcoin at 60, smart move to add to their positions, right? To reduce risk on that collateralized loan. Taking another loan at 60, very dumb. Because if you're taking another loan, I think you're gonna put yourself into a position. I think you should take a loan at the bottom of the market. Take a loan at the bottom of the market, because once you're at the bottom, there's like how much lower can you really go? If the market's already 70, you're down 70K, right? Let's say the market's down 70, 80%. You have 100K in your account balance. I would take a 40, 30K loan. And then let's say eventually the market goes up 200, 300, 400%. Now your collateralization ratio is extremely in the green side. And you can take out a bigger loan as the market's going up. So you're essentially taking loans out on the coins you bought way cheaper. So what they're doing is very intelligent. Taking a loan out at 60, risky. That's not risk averse, unless if it's a big loan.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that insight, man. So I mean, so just for like the listeners' purpose, so let's say in the case, right, like you take a loan at 60. Let's say, boom, we had January rolls in, we roll into the bear market, Bitcoin absolutely falls 40 to 50%, bro, and Bitcoin goes from 60 all the way back down to 30 to 30 to 40K. At that point, that's what you're talking about. That's when they would get that margin call to fill in that capital, obviously that's lost, since you took a loan at 60 and the asset fell all the way down.
Yeah, they're gonna. Ideally, they don't want. And realistically, bro, the thing is I don't know if you realized, but like now with all these Bitcoin ETFs releasing, and all these options plays that you can call on these Bitcoin ETFs, they do impact the market. You know, like the market will liquidate or drop. I think I see it here. I think the market did it in May, right?
The
The
ETF,
market, yeah, when the market was at 57K and the market dropped to like 31,000 in 2 weeks. It's like it was liquidating a bunch of orders throughout that month. That was all liquidating orders because you know how many options there were above 40,000 that lost money,
yeah,
and
that
then
were
as soon
long.
as those options were closed in October, price spiked from 30K all the way to 60. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of institutional manipulation you have there, and not, and you know, even though yes, we like to say like, okay, like yeah, you're taking a loan on it. Technically, trading on margin is taking a loan out on your Bitcoin or on whatever investment you're trading. Because when you're doing
Yeah,
perpetual futures
it's smart.
trading, all that type of trading on Binance, on FTX, whatever platform you're using, same idea. You know, you can either take the loan out and have it cash, or you can take the loan out and reinvest it. I mean, that's really all trading is nowadays, right? Like just taking your own capital and leveraging it. That's pretty much what I think they're doing. And unfortunately, they're coming and they're getting wrecked. That's why the whole
Yeah,
trading strategy for me hasn't even been that popular anymore. Like, Santi still trades, and you know, for me, it's more of like an internal personal decision, like with you know, like my income and everything like that, as to why I'm not trading day to day right now. But I still I've taken a big take. The biggest takeaway I think I've gotten this year is to be smarter with my investments because trading is really putting your money into the market every single day. I'm a good trader. I can make money trading. Most people can't say that. But I also don't, even though I can do it, I don't choose to intentionally risk. You know what I'm trying to say? I think right now it'd
yeah,
be a better time to risk maybe in another space, like, you know, maybe not real estate personally right now, but, you know, risking in a different place, like maybe putting money into metaverse tokens, right? Than to continue to pursue, you know, forex trading day to day where you're risking every single day. I'd rather buy and hold the metaverse token right today than put in 50K into a trading account today and try to build that into 100K. Because I think the metaverse token over the next 6 months, 12 months will not only bring me higher returns, but it's one trade versus the maybe 30, 40, 50 plus I'd have to take to make that money over the next couple, not including the risk of actually losing it all. So
No, and
yeah. What's up, Sandy?
it's a health dilemma too, bro, because
Facts. Yeah,
that
definitely.
shit's
It
intense,
does take away. It
and
does take away from your health.
you're gonna take losses because that's how the game is. And if your psychological game isn't strong enough and you feel like you're very an emotional person, then I feel like trading really
Yeah,
shouldn't be the strong suit for you,
I love
because it's
trading.
like you have to. Trading's amazing,
I put four
but
years of my life into it. I don't want to put the next
it's a
four.
skill set. It's a skill
I think
set
that's
that
the way I see it.
you grew into, and you use it into crypto, you use it into stocks, you use it into other analysis, because it's just an analytical game. At the end of
That's
the day,
very true.
that's basically what you do.
The technical work
Technical
applies
work.
into the long term investing. I think the long term investing strategy, me personally, is what I'm testing out right now. Right, like we did trading for a very long time now. Um, actually this is a conversation I had with Santi Ryan. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I was like, you know, it went from I was working a job to then, you know, doing network marketing. From network marketing, right? That income was what was kind of running the show. Um, then I did side jobs on top of network marketing, whatever. Like that was the income I was focused on. Like that's where I was focused. And then when I saved enough money, I grabbed 5K, and that's what I threw into crypto. That turned into like way over 6 figures over the course of like 9, 10 months with like some right calls, Uniswap, Hex, all that stuff. But this was the thing, right? Like I saw a video by Alex Martozzi, something like that. I forgot his name, but pretty much he talks about how when you put your energy towards your business, it's usually because your business is building you most of your income, right?
Alex Hermosi, I think.
Alex Harmozy, yeah. And so he talks about how, you know, usually like that you're focused more on your business than you are on your investments because your business is what's bringing in most of the income. But then I was in this weird predicament where I made more money through my investments than I made the whole year through my business. And so then I was like, okay, I think it's maybe time to focus on my investments more than I should focus on like my day-to-day income, because my investments were making me way more money, and they still are. And I just prefer the way of investing. So I think it worked for me. I think now I'm in that space where I'm focused more on the long-term investment strategy. Will it work long-term? I hope, right? I got to be very careful with how I risk because it's not day trading at all.
Mm-mm.
And I think there's a conversation I want to have with you guys. One, having a cash reserve, and two, having cash flow, right? So talk about that. Cash reserve, you need money to put into stocks when the right project hits, right? You are into the right crypto. And then two, cash flow is like, I mean, something like, let's talk about it, bro. Like, we can trade as much as, like, I want to trade, but if you don't have active cash flow coming in every single day, what are you going to trade with? It's like you're risking money that you
Exactly.
shouldn't be risking. It's like if you have 80K coming in every month, fuck yeah, take 50K, put that into a trading account. 20K, 30K. If you have 80K coming in every month, but if you don't have that cash flow coming in every month, if that money isn't going to be renewed by some source, why are you risking? That's kind of my way of thinking about it. What do you guys think?
You're definitely right. I mean, over time, I've kind of justified my risk ratio, and I'm digging more into the long term game than trying to just sit here and look at the markets every other day. Like it's time consuming, and it's very dreading, But since I work from home, I've been working from home for the past like 2 years and a half. I have my own little back cave, so I try to implement as much time as I can. Studying. Kevin has helped me out with the crypto.
But you've done it
Branding
really
with
dope because your way of doing it was like through options. So how are you investing long term through options? Because I know that's what you're working on.
so options trading, for the ones that don't know, is just you buy one contract and it's like 100 shares of of a stock. Let's say Facebook, well, metaverse basically now. If that stock, let's say, cost $100, you'll buy one contract of that stock, and it'll cost you, let's say, depending if it's $100 stock, it'll cost you like 150, maybe 200 plus, depending how long you want to hold it. My point of view right now, instead of day trading it, because you can, but the market does not move as you want every single day, or just have these random moments. So instead of you stressing that, just open up a good portion sized account, let's say 5K, like steady, and wait until the beginning of the next year, just so you could start implementing some good positions. And of course, wait until the market falls. Don't just get into just this trade or this stock because it's everyone's talking about it. Sometimes you're late for the train, and that's it. That's You can't do anything about it. You're not going to dread about a trade. You're not going to dread about an opportunity because Sleepy Joe over here heard the news first, but you got the news second, and you did action, but he didn't, but he found out first. So
Yeah,
it's
it's like split second. That's not even worth taking the risk on that
ex
split second decision
exacto.
versus just long term holding.
Exacto. So it's like I just build my position, I grab one contract, and I hold it for 6 to 8 months.
And let me ask you
And
this: through your investments, like, okay, so how can I put it? When you invest, right? Let's say like versus a someone who's only been investing for a year, how important is it, like your quarterly earnings, your news reports? Like how much do you focus on that type of metric in your news? Because there's different types of investors. I know there's people who focus mainly on just like
the
morale and like
fundamental
overall news.
technical.
Yeah, fundamental news. There's
Hmm.
people who focus a lot analytically on the quantitative analysis, right? So like they look at the
Hmm.
numbers. Other people look at qualitative analysis. You are a quantitative, right? You focus more on the numbers, or do you focus more on the actual business itself?
Mm, so a little bit more of both, depending, like with stocks, of course. You have to know what company you're investing in. You're not just gonna throw your money into some bobo thing. And you want to know that in the next upcoming years they have really good projects, and depending who they're gonna acquire and who they're gonna join forces with is also a big point. But mostly in stocks is just straight fundamentals and like 60% analytical. Because let's say PLTR, you bought PLTR, and then it had a high at like $40, but right now it's at like $19, right?
Yeah.
I'll if you could see analytically that, okay, prices is basically showing bearish, right? You're not going to be like, okay, I'm gonna input in a position and I'm gonna buy it. A lot of people don't think that way. So you have to look at both parties, because let's say it's at 19 and it looks bearish, but they're having their earning call in the next month or so, and everyone's talking very highly of them, because let's say they won a contract with the government, which usually is the case, and is a lot of money getting flooded into the system. So price being that low doesn't mean it's going to drop. So that's the thing. You have to understand the numbers. You have to understand
Yeah.
the workspace of what's really going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, because
That's
that,
what I
that shit
do
happened to me
on
once.
the
I bought
stock side.
Moderna. I think one time some news came out for Moderna. I bought Moderna. That shit didn't go up at all.
That
It
shit
actually went
tanked.
down. Yeah, I mean, but it was on some like. In other words, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. This is why I focus on crypto. I'm the crypto guy, right? I leave stocks to you. I don't really talk about stocks, but out of that, it's crazy because like you tell me sometimes you're like, yo, buy this stock, blah 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 blah, and it goes up. I'm sometimes looking at a stock towards what I think actually works, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't do it. But it's really, I think it's come down to the fact that, like how you said, not every day is just one of those moving days. Sometimes the move already
Exactly.
happened. Sometimes there's no, it really isn't as important as you may think it is. The news that you're reading, even though it's a high impact news, it's not as important as you think it is. And it doesn't really mean much to the bottom line. So it's like, I mean, I commend you, bro. Stocks is a difficult fucking place to be because I mean, crypto. Everybody wants to be in crypto. I'm
I
just
mean,
taking
now
advantage of a
that's a
speculative market,
space.
but you're in
Yeah,
that.
that's a
You're in
space
that.
everyone's getting into.
That's dope.
Everyone.
That's cool, man. So you got options locked down. That's dope, bro. Awesome, man. And so I think we've been at it for like 30 minutes already, but we've been talking about a lot. And let's keep it going, man, in this space. So we've talked about, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about cash flow. We talked about capital, right? Having, overall just having reserve capital. How important is it to you, Brandon, bro, having reserve capital for your investments, man?
Um, yeah, man. Not Santi went in there. I was just writing some notes here just so I don't forget different
Note
topics that I
takers are
want to
money
bring.
makers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So I'm in the loan brokering slash credit repair space, right? So, I'm not a day trader. I don't trade. I consider myself more as an investor, right? So back to what Kevin was saying earlier when he was explaining his transition and just like the style that he's over the years that's been working for him, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. So a lot of people think that like to buy crypto and stuff like that, you got to be a trader and you got to be like charting up the charts and shit like that. And it's not the case at all, man. Like a lot of the research that I do research on the team because at the end of the day, like you're putting your money behind the developers of that project, right? Like Kevin did an interview with the guys from Liquid Loans, phenomenal heads behind developers behind these projects that are going to change the world of finance and so on and so forth, right? So it's like putting your money behind Tesla, Elon Musk, like an Amazon. Like you're putting your money behind the smartest dudes
Yeah.
in the world. You get what I'm saying? So I see it as more investing more than trading. Now, will I look at the chart and I know how to understand the chart? Yes, right. And I will be able to have an idea of what's going on in the macro aspect, right, of the charts. But ultimately, it's more of an investing style. I'm looking at their teams. I'm going on their websites. We're looking at ultimately their use, right? Um, Warren Buffett, the greatest possible stock investor in the world has ever seen, man. Like that guy, if that guy invests based on value. Like Shaq said it the other day. He spoke with Bezos. He's like, you know what Bezos told him? He's like, only invest into things that are going to change the world, that bring value to the world. So with that,
Definitely.
man, like people, like dude, this whole shitcoin thing has me like scratching, bro, because people are just investing their money into like Shiba Inu and like the Dogecoins of the world. And there's so many other projects that people have no idea that are possibly the same price, if not cheaper, right? Not that price has anything to do with valuations and stuff like that. That's a whole other topic. But there's better opportunities, right? And guys are just throwing money where else, and you don't even know where you're putting your money into. Just because everybody's putting your money into something, like don't be a sheep. Like take a
Facts.
look. All right, this is what it's gonna like. You look up Dogecoin, it literally says meme coin. Like have some respect. I know like you guys work hard for your money. I work hard for my money. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna respect my money. Like I'm gonna park it in places where, bro. Like
Yeah, like you
I've
won the trade before you're even in it. Like, or you made
exactly,
money on the investment before you even positioned yourself. Like you knew it was just for sure a
exactly,
winner.
exactly. Exactly, man. So I mean, it's a lot about like doing the research. And bro, people, you know why 401ks came out? The 401ks were made for people who are not gonna take 10 minutes out of their day to figure out where to park your money to go ahead and park your money to work for, right? Like the guys who created the 401k accounts, I can't think of their names right now. JP Morgan Chase and all these really elite wealthy guys, bro. Like they came out with these accounts. A lot of people don't know during COVID, like you could have transitioned your 401k to a Roth IRA and there was no fees. due to COVID. There was no fee. So you could have taken your 401k that you're getting waxed on taxes, you're getting waxed on the management fees. You could have moved that to a Roth IRA at zero fees, right? And then that could have been money that you could have been managing, getting tax-free bread at the end when you retire. Because the 401k, you get it to retire as well, but you get taxed at the end. But the Roth, you're not gonna get taxed, right? So those are
But let me ask you this. Someone who's watching this, they're 18, 19, they're just getting into investing. Should they get a 401k or should they just invest in crypto? What do you think? What's your opinion? Not financial advice.
Yeah, not financial advice, dude.
If you had a do-over, would you get a 401k? Like, what would you do knowing what you know now?
So I used to work at AT&T back in 2017, 2018, and they offered me a 401k and I denied it. So I was just like, dude, I want to have my money in my control to be able to deploy the capital where I choose and fit, right? So at that time, I was really starting my business. So I really wanted every dollar, every penny to be able to deploy back into my business and back into myself.
Yeah.
So, 18, 19-year-old kid, for example, like at my dad's job, they match his 401k. They match him for every dollar he puts in. They put in $1 and like 25 cents. So in some cases, it might work out. You got to do the proper math. But even though like that $1 put in and like the taxes and the fees, it might not be worth it. You got to do math on that. What I would say to somebody at 18, 19 years old is start learning, get exposure to things, right? Like YouTube,
spend money,
dude. Like I was talking about this with my dad yesterday. Like, bro, we literally have access to billionaires, millionaires, six figures, crypto investors like yourself, bro, on YouTube, where we can go ahead and learn from. 20 years ago, that didn't exist, bro. You had to go pick up a book. Obviously, crypto wasn't around, but other investments like knowledge and stuff like that. So, like at 18, 19, man, I was at a different mindset.
We were all there. We were there for that.
I think we all were. But man, dude, like if you're 18, 19, look up what a Roth IRA is, dude. Like that. Like look up what a Roth IRA is. Look up what compounding interest is. Man, and yeah, do research on like where you're allocating your capital, dude.
Yeah, I'd buy it. I think when you're young, it's the best time to be risky. Like it's okay to lose it all when you're fucking young, because right now you can make it back. Especially if you live. Most kids right now in the United States, they're living with their parents. Unless you're like that percentage that maybe either lives by themselves at 18, they're independent. They what is it called? It's like when they make themselves independent.
Before emancipated.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's like unless you're a kid like that who ends up not living at home, whatever. Most people do live at home for most of their life, right? Most people under the age of 25 are probably still living at home right now, and so
that's when you gotta take advantage,
right? And so now is when you got to put it all into crypto, right? Or not really like that. Now is when you got to put it all into your investments. Hex by hex. No, I'm kidding. But but right now is the time for real. You got to take a risk, and I say it because honestly, I would never tell people to do something I wasn't willing to do myself, right? Like I wouldn't tell you to go do something I wouldn't do or I haven't done. And so when I tell people that, it's like, take the risk because you're young enough, you can do it. And if you just prioritize the money towards that rather than a lot of other things, like I put my money towards a lot of stupid stuff for a very long time, whether it was partying, right? We lived in Miami. We just like having a good time out here. It was almost like built into the culture, but the culture doesn't breed investors. The culture doesn't breed, people who are money hungry. Miami, a little bit. I think Miami has enough of that lavish, amazing business entrepreneurial lifestyle, or examples thereof, that it might inspire people, living down here. Like I get inspired all the time driving around, but you see the Lambos, you see the Ferraris, you see the Wraiths, you see it all. But for those people who don't have it, right, like the culture isn't breeding investors unless you're born into that, right? Unless you're being taught that from a young age. But I think it's time to take that risk. Like that's why I like Gary Vee a lot, because Gary Vee talks a lot about taking risks when you're young. When you're 30, he still considers you being extremely young, someone who can go out there and still be able to do what you got to do. 401ks, I would do it. This is my opinion. I would do it, but I would also make sure you're saving money cash and going all into some like really big projects. And when I mean all in, like I don't mean $500. I mean, if these are the first $2,000 you saved, put that into a coin that you've been wanting to invest into for a long time and just let it sit there for the next 2-3 years, right? See what happens. Because in 2-3 years, while you're working, while you're doing everything you're doing, it could turn to 20-30K. That's what happened with Uniswap. I put 2K into Uniswap, turned into 20-something K. So it's like, it's worth it. It's worth the risk, because in the next 2 years, as you're doing everything you're doing, as you're grinding, you're going to get something from that more than likely, especially if it's into a new up and coming exciting space. And, losers are the only sellers are the only ones that lose money. I want to remind everybody that you only lose when you sell your coin. So just never sell your coin. So if you're down 60%, 70%, hey, just don't sell it, because in a couple years or a few months even, you might be back at or right back at break even.
Yeah, man. I think there's a bigger risk in not investing than in
Hell
investing.
yeah, that's the biggest risk of all. Not
There's a
taking it.
bigger risk in not taking it at all, period. Whether it be that investment, like investing into yourself, investing into assets, right? Kev, I never got to answer your question, bro, as far as cash reserves. So my situation is a little bit different, man. I'm renting a house right now, and I have like business expenses, stuff like that. And I have a decent amount of overhead a month, right? So I keep in monthly cash reserves 6 to 9 months worth of my expenses, rent, business expenses, salary, whatever, all of my expenses I have calculated. I put 6 to 9 months aside, and that's money. That's their cash. That I leave there, right? And then I have another pool of money. I take 10 to 15% of whatever surplus I have after that 6 to 9 months, and then that's what I'll use to start investing, right? And I'll start dollar cost averaging into different positions that I like. That's something that I've learned that's been huge for me, is dollar cost averaging. Because before at 18, 19, I would, let's say you have $500, right? I probably would have put all 500 in at the same time. Unless you're dealing with like gas fees and stuff like that, then it's more beneficial to just do a larger position. But if you're on an exchange where you can just like dollar cost average, and it's not like you're not getting killed on the fees, like that $500, all right, I'm gonna put 250 right now in initial entry. It goes down 10, 15 cents, or if it in dollar, whatever you're ranging. All right, I'm gonna throw another 150. I'm gonna throw the other 50. Wait for a retracement, throw another 15, get a better average, a cost average of your investment. That's something, you know what I'm saying? So with that surplus after my 6 to 9 months, that's when I'll start looking. I'll start looking for investments. Right now, I'll be completely transparent. I've been buying since February, March of last year, so I'm up a decent amount on my positions. Now it's just a matter of like,
And you
I'm
take
just
profit.
waiting to see what happens. Yeah, I've been taking profits.
Yeah, and you've been taking profit.
Correct. Now I still have a decent amount of exposure. Like I don't even think on like XRP, I've probably removed the initial investment out of the rest, dude, has been like 30. I'm at 40 to 50%. I haven't removed not even my full initial investment, because
you're just scratching the scratch really with certain coins that you're invested into at
yeah
30, 50%.
yeah. And bro, like something I've realized for some of these like investors that I've watched, man, is and if there's anything that anybody that's watching this can pick up, is not what we're investing into, because we really even haven't named what we invest into. It's but how we look at investments and how you foresee things. That's the most important, right? Like it's not what you're investing in. I say, oh, what are you in? What are you in? Dude, it's not about what I'm in. It's about the way that I'm looking at it and the way that I'm getting into it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Really understanding, Kevin, like how many hours like in the Uniswap trade that went phenomenal for you? Like how many hours of like research or like understanding the project would you say? Because I mean, when I speak to you about crypto, bro, like you fully and 100% fully understand the fundamentals of the project. You know what I'm saying? From the nodes to XYZ, right? Like you understand what you're investing into. I feel so many people have no idea what they're even putting their money into.
Yeah, those 2000, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like it's funny because that was probably one of my first solo picks. I think it was. And mind you, I had already kind of been learning about cryptocurrency that before that, but the world was the space was growing. So it was like 2018. It could have been 2019, 2020. 2019 going into 2020, DeFi was becoming a really big thing. Altcoins had already been a thing. Like if you remember 2017, you had all these shit coins. You had Tron, all this. I mean, well, Tron isn't a shit coin now. It's still out there. But you had at the time, everybody just invested into it, and it was just a white paper, right? Nobody knew what it was. And all these things went up. But Uniswap was a little bit different because Uniswap was almost like the evolution of what we had already known today. So if you look at all the centralized exchanges that had already been hacked, right? That had already been, compromised. You have not in the same example of the ones that had been hacked, but now you have Coinbases, now you have the Geminis, now you have all these different exchanges coming out, and then you have this one little unicorn out of nowhere called Uniswap, and then they talk about how it's a decentralized exchange and how it's meant to essentially do what centralized exchanges do, but off of what away from a centralized party, where it's created and controlled, or really the services provided by liquidity pools set up by the users themselves. So it's almost like a center where everybody comes together, says, hey, look, we're all exchanging, you guys can exchange here, you pay us fees, but the protocol works seamless. It's an automated market maker, AMMs. And so, now you have Matcha, now you have PancakeSwap, you have all these things. But before, it was just Uniswap. And Uniswap, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can probably pull it up, but Uniswap at the time had maybe I think it was a little bit less than $1 billion, almost $1 billion in liquidity. And then I Google searched. I was like, how much money does Coinbase have in liquidity, like in assets that they're holding? And I think they had maybe 10 billion. And I was like, dude, this company has 1/10 of what Bitcoin is holding. I mean, of what Coinbase is holding. There's no way this is not gonna be worth anything. And this was right when Uniswap had just launched their token. I got the airdrop, and I held, and it went to 40 something bucks. And I bought I got the airdrop, and I had bought an extra 2,000 because I had an extra $2,000 to put in, and I bought Uniswap. And so remember, I was looking into the future of what centralized and decentralized exchanges were. Now that we have Matcha, we have all these different dexes that people utilize. That's now, but that was the first. And so when DeFi was really becoming a thing, I was like, bro, this is going to be super important. And crazy enough, that's where Hex actually got its popularity from. Hex actually helped build Uniswap. And I kind of found out about it through that too. So it was funny, all these pieces started to come into play, but I specifically focused on the future and the evolution of cryptocurrency. And that was capitalizing on a space that was centralized and now being turned into a decentralized space. And that's where I saw the value in that investment. Uniswap wasn't so much as I'm going to just put money in. It was really a thought process of what can this become in the next 12 to 24 months. And that shit paid out. It was a really good investment.
Yeah, man. The money, dude, the money's in the research. The money is definitely in the research. And dude, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but once you you understand the project, you understand what you're investing into, the team, the value, the future, the change, and the positively change is going to bring into the world, that ultimately removes the emotion, bro. You get down 10-15%, you're dude, yo estoy con los caballos, I'm with the horses, I'm in a good spot right now, I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, right? No, definitely. So I completely agree.
Remove your emotion because you have so much conviction towards the project because you understand it. You understand the ins and outs. Now, if you don't understand what you have your money into and you're more in the gambling sense of you're just throwing money in there just to throw it, now that's when you're do I want to sell? Do I want to sell? No. Most of the coins that I'm holding right now have conviction to hold for the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? I want to look back the next few years and be all right, cool. Thank you.
If you're not willing, I think if you're not willing to hold it, and for the next 5 to 10 years, it shouldn't even be in your portfolio.
It shouldn't be in your portfolio, bro.
Because and here's the thing. Once again, you've been in it since 2017, 2018, 2019. You've been researching it. You know that the coins that were on the top of the list in 2017 are not even close to the same coins that are at the top 100 list now in crypto. Maybe three. Yeah. And so it's the top 100 always looks different every couple of years. So it's it's a sign of the times. You really got to kind of evolve with it. And not just take someone else's opinion or a video on YouTube as a reason for it. Most people that shill different coins and they're always talking about a brand new project, they're probably losing money or making money on the back end through referrals from those projects. Exactly. They're probably not making money themselves. Someone who really rides for a coin is probably because there's an insane community that has that person there and that they're probably a part of too, in my personal opinion. That's why I'm so big on Hex, honestly. I just believe in it, and it's a super simple product. I mean, I talk about it a lot because it's just why not? It's it's almost when Bitcoin was the first thing around, everybody talked about it, and everybody thought they were, crazy, and now it's the biggest thing, that there is, right? But is there things that are better? Yeah. And so I guess now the idea would be paying attention to those secondary coins that are coming up, and also here's an insight. It's I say it all the time. The internet gave people a lot of access, but there are companies right now worth more than the internet. They utilize the internet, but they're worth more than internet companies. So, you look at Comcast, Apple leverages technology that leverages the internet, but the internet isn't more valuable or Comcast isn't more valuable than Apple. Why? Because at the end of the day, the utility doesn't also mean value. You know what I mean? You can't have Apple iPhones without the internet. They won't work the same way. But why is it that Apple's worth more? Well, it's just speculative instruments, the way that the people think. So in my opinion, you have the Ethereum now, but there's going to be that project on Ethereum or that project on another chain that's going to be worth more than the chain itself. And I think that's where the future really comes in. All coins are pretty big. they're gonna get there. But like I
Yeah.
said, it just depends on how you want to invest.
Do you see Bitcoin as the digital gold?
Um, I
You really
kind of
think that?
I think I do. I mean, in a way, what do you think? I mean, I kind of do. I mean, in a
I
way,
see it as
at the simplest level, it kind of is, right? I mean, realistically, gold becomes harder to find. The harder it becomes to find, the more. I mean, not really, because gold hasn't even gone up in the past like 10 years. Like
yeah,
it's been moving sideways. Like is gold really limited? Right? Like is there really a lack of gold? You know, like
yeah,
it is like I know that there's not as much as there is, silver and all that stuff, but it's just like I don't know, bro. Like it's just we give something value, so I wouldn't want to call it the digital gold because people don't see gold the same way anymore, and I wouldn't want that to be the same case for Bitcoin because then people wouldn't see Bitcoin the same way, because
yeah,
because it doesn't really follow that same thing. Like gold is supposed to go up year over year, but if you look at it, it hasn't been. Gold is only up like in the past 10 years, like 5%, something like that.
yeah, yeah. It's been very, very delayed.
Which is that even isn't even combating inflation. Like you actually lost money if you had held gold for the past 10 years. So
Yeah,
Which is insane, huh?
it's crazy because it was the first thing that people would go to, but now it's something new. Um, so I wouldn't want to say it's like the next gold. I think it's a gold 2.0. Definitely better. Definitely better.
what time frame do you give Bitcoin to overtake gold's market cap? Because I checked this morning, gold's market cap is sitting at like 11 trillion.
11, right?
If I check, yeah, around there with Bitcoin.
Honestly, dude, I give it one more cycle. Like I really don't think I don't think we're gonna get to 10 trillion total market cap for crypto. In the next
So we
couple
got
of
1
years. I think that if there's gonna be some type of boost in Bitcoin like market cap, it'll probably hit 3 trillion, 4 trillion. I give it another 5 years, just because, bro. Like you have to, you can't go through something like, bro. I don't know, man. It's so tricky because like even right now, like look at everything coming back from the pandemic. The only way we would hit another recession is like a man-made recession. Like they would just have to make it harder for people to live, which I think is happening right now. So, but I don't want to believe it's true because at the same time, you look at everything. Everything is going up. They're printing more money. They're doing all these things. If the money printer's on, prices are going up. The money
Yeah,
printer's still on. Interest rates haven't even gone up. So
So
it's
what
like
happens when all that shit shuts off?
when everything well, that's when everybody says whoop, and everybody takes their money out. Well,
Bro,
not
but
everybody,
by
but
then,
the smart ones are already getting
yeah,
out.
I mean, smart
bro. And
ones are
when COVID hit, like investors, they were like everybody sold off because investors wanted to go cash because they didn't know they didn't know the certainty of like the world where we were going. I remember it was a certain part of March, like I was shorting SPY, I was shorting the S&P 500 like crazy, thinking that we were gonna see a new all-time low. And it didn't. It recovered. It ended up going from 220. It absolutely skyrocketed. It went back to all-time highs, and investors started allocating um, the capital back in, dude. So I mean, like inflation is just gonna keep sending things through the roof. So Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, dude, like he's still not raising interest rates because he says that inflation is still like too out of hand. So that's when like they raise interest rates on houses and stuff like that. Most of the time when interest rates go up, that means bonds go up. Bonds go up. Normally we see stocks go down. Um, and yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see where investors go to keep moving their capital because some OG like old school investors they're still really stuck on gold. They still see as like gold as like the
Yeah,
ultimate
gold can
investment.
have a pump though. I mean, I think gold deserves a pump.
Yeah, I mean, as
I got some gold.
hope so. I got some gold. I hope so.
I wouldn't mind it.
I got some gold. I needed
Facts.
to pump, man. But yeah, dude, like a lot of people, Kevin as well. I think we should touch on this, man. Like the difference between a correction and a crash. Like corrections are healthy in market, like in bull cycles, no matter stocks or
in a healthy market, yes.
So what would you call COVID? Like, what do you think COVID was the correction that we needed to go further, like how we're doing now?
no,
Yes.
I think COVID was like a
Do you
panic
think it
crash, dude.
sufficed because it was a flash crash? You're right, but it was even I think even though it was
2 days SPY lasted like that, and they absolutely
yeah
shot up.
yeah look, I'm gonna be honest, like it was super manipulated, right? It was propaganda scaring the world. Nobody knew a certain uncertainty really. I mean, It was a perfect recipe for a crash. It was
You know
exactly
that
what you needed.
A fucking
Right. It was
disaster.
it was exactly what you needed. So I mean, it came from it. But what else is a crash anyway? Like it's usually when things are overinflated, uncertainty in the markets, prices go down. But everything that we probably expected from a crash or a recession happened. You know, I mean, except for the whole depression part, we pretty much recovered. But I think that's there's a lot of thanks to stocks, technology stocks for that, because you know even though yes, like stocks were going down, Zoom was going up, right? You had Tesla going up, you had Peloton going up, all these companies going up. So they say it was I think it was called a K what is it? It's a type of pullback. It's a type of recession, a K recession. I think that's what it's called, right? A K recession recovery. So like it looks like this, right? A K-shaped recovery. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys real quick so you guys can see this. Right? Like it looks like this. So while there's a sector of the market going down, right? You have travel, entertainment, hospitality, food services going down. You have technology, retail, software going up. So it's like at the same time as one's happening, the other one's happening too. So yes, you're having a recession on one side of the market, but the other side is actually thriving. So in a way, we kind of already did it, and so that's why I also see the market going up way further throughout the next quarter, you know, and significantly too. Because if you look at all stocks, like we can even take a look at Bitcoin. I mean, we didn't add it here because of course it's not a part of the market, but if you look at Bitcoin back in 2017, right? You go to Bitcoin back in 2017, and then you look at November specifically, right? In the same week that we're actually in right now, which is funny enough, right? This is a log scale, so kind of have to take it, a little bit. You see a little bit more of the impact not on log scale, because when you see it normal, just linear scale, you get to see kind of like the size difference between what it did in November. So here, November 20th of 2017, week over week over week over week for 5 weeks straight, we hit 20,000, right? And if you look at where we are right now in November, we're at the same week, except we're at a top. And this top can possibly week over week over week continue like how we did leading off into ending of 2017 going into 2018, now in 2021 going into 2022. So it's crazy because like it's like once again it's like I told you guys about those patterns, right? Like all of this U-shaped kind of recovery happened over here. But what do they? It's like I know you guys know trading, right? Like what do they call that? The cup and handle, right? You have the cup, and they forms the handle, and then a breakout. I think that's you had more or less here. You had like your cup, you had your handle, and then the breakout, and then you're probably gonna see that continue up. This is just FUD, right? This is people scaring everybody. At the end of it, it's just the market shaking out paper hands. But it really does come down to that. History repeats itself. And even though it's doing things that we don't expect it to, the only thing I can go base off of is what I know. And in 2017, it performed heavily, right? And in 2021, it still performed heavily, earlier than we expected. But can it end the market? Can it end the year like that? And considering what we're still doing, talking about this like weird ass recovery where tech stocks are still going up, right? Talking about how money's still being printed. I mean, what do you guys think? Bro, like it looks more certain than not certain that the market's gonna keep going up, and the only way it doesn't is if like, bro, they have to like fuck everybody over again, and they have to do something crazy.
Something insane would have to happen, dude. So the last big recession where we can like there was depression and like actual like real big loss in the economy was obviously 2008 in the housing crash, right? So the difference between 2008 and the difference between COVID was that COVID we started printing out money. In 2008 we didn't go on the rampage of printing out all this money. In 2020 the Federal Reserve and Trump, they went ahead and like they started printing out money and saving the economy. So they started giving all these billions of dollars right back to these big companies, and they started buying back stocks. So like a stock analysis that I was on, I can't even think of the guy's name right now. He's talking about how a lot of the companies we're looking at now in the evaluations, they're all inflated because a lot of these companies have been buying their own stocks.
They've been performing, right? Stock buybacks.
Yeah, dude. So that's the difference, honestly, that I see and why we've had that crazy recovery, dude. We had three stimulus checks. We had trillions. A lot of people don't realize it. Before 2020 and COVID, we had 19 trillion dollars in total U.S. and total country debt. Now you look at it, we're at 28 trillion. So that's almost a
Yeah.
50% increase, brother, in 1 year. We're talking about our full lifetime economy. We had 19 trillion full. Now from 1 year we increased to 50%. People don't understand the ramifications that are going to happen
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
with inflation, dude. So I think honestly, like the all the massive amounts of money printing, dude. Like I don't know how many stimulus checks. Like I would have loved to see the amount of stimulus checks that got thrown into like the stock market, that got thrown into like the
Yeah,
crypto market.
people were stealing money from the government. Like there was a lot of
People
abuse,
stealing
especially here
money from the
in the
government.
U.S.
Like yeah, bro. Like there was a like the my thing is like in 2008 there was no money printing. They let the economy die. In 2020 they brought out the printer and they didn't let it die, which is
Pow.
why we see like there's a lot of ¿me entiendes? We never really saw people going through this. Also, and to harp on your point as well, technology like Zoom and these companies, they weren't as advanced as they are now. Like now, dude, like people don't want to work from like offices. Like they're quitting their
It served
jobs.
us. I think
Like
it
Really
served
are.
us. Yeah, it served
September
us.
was the Oh man, dude, that literally, bro. In September was the largest amount of people who quit their jobs. Why? Because you can go work for another company from your house, work from Zoom, work from like digitally. You can raise your kids, be with your dogs at home, and you can still get the same
But let's be
job
real. A lot
done.
of people just don't want to work. That's
I mean, yeah,
as much as we have a good
yeah,
example.
And the
Yeah, there's the
pay,
law
bro.
of polarity, bro. As much as we want to say yes, there are people, and I'm
yeah,
happy you
yeah,
highlight those people because those are the ones that we need that are actually leaving a job to get a better job. We got a lot of
yeah,
people who are
yeah,
leaving a
yeah.
job to not even have to work a job because they don't have to. And I think, in a way, we did kind of once again they threw us into a hole where like unknowingly like you couldn't. I mean, I think you could have said no to a check to a stimulus check. Nobody's gonna say no to the stimulus check. It's free money. Take that shit. It's your own money, really. It's taxpayer money. But
Yeah.
anyway, like, like at the end of the day, if you kind of think about it, that position that you're putting yourself into, or you're putting the country into, people just become lazy. People become lazy. Nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to do anything, and it becomes like a different way of life because now you're keeping people in their house. Now you're leaving them at home, right? Now you're making them depend on the government, and it's exactly what the government wants. They don't want you to work for yourself as much. It's crazy because the U.S. prided itself on being that country where it's the land of the free, home of the brave. You come here, you make something out of yourself, you build a business, you work for a major company, you do whatever, and you work, but you work, and that's the whole point. I think that idealistic mentality of what it is to be American, what it is to come here and put the work in to become a success is kind of being taken for granted because now you don't even have to go to work. You can just stay at home and make it big.
Yeah, yeah. I
Damn
mean,
right.
I think, dude, like for example, a lot of people don't understand with all this massive amounts of money being printed. It's not just the wealthy, man, who they have. Like, why do you think they're all raising tax rates? Because the government doesn't know who's gonna pay for all this debt back. They have us lined up to pay for it. They want the
Yeah.
1%, the guys who are generating all the jobs for millions of people. Jeff Bezos. People look at Jeff Bezos like if he's evil, bro. 2020 of March, April 2020 of March, there was no job available. Businesses were getting shut down. There was a lot of unconstitutional shit going on in a bunch of different states, right? And this man comes out and offers a job, 100,000 jobs, paying at $17 an hour in the middle of a pandemic when nobody was hiring, right? So we're gonna go and tax. The government has plans for everybody to pay this back, not just the 1%, because you know what? And a lot of people didn't read this in a lot of the CARES Act bills that were signed, right? But for example, last year and even this year, if you processed less than $20,000 on PayPal, so let's say, man, like I did a consultation on how to build out somebody's credit report. Boom, I send them an invoice, $1,000, right? Let's just throw out a number. I get paid the $1,000. That gets hit to my bank account. Boom, it gets there, right? I don't have to pay if those $1,000 are the only $1,000 I process. I don't have to. I don't get a tax return. Like I don't get a 1099, and PayPal doesn't send the 1099 to the IRS because you have to have processed more than $20,000 on PayPal for PayPal to generate a
Then what does that
1099,
mean?
a tax return. 1099 is a tax
Though,
return
yeah,
form
but what
that.
does that mean? Like if you don't get that tax return?
Oh, what does that mean? That you don't have, you essentially don't have to pay taxes on that,
Oh
right?
shit.
So that allows people like a small business like myself, like us, right, to be able to allow like to keep
Yeah, to pretty
going
much
and
not pay taxes and
to
the
keep scale, yeah,
yeah.
to keep scale because it allows us to one stay alive and pay for bills, pay for employees, and keep scaling and keep making the economy grow, or allow me to provide more jobs and so on and so forth, correct? But now in the CARES Act, it was changed. So remember, before, if you process under 20,000, no tax return, money's yours. Now in 2022, if you process more than $600 through PayPal, through Stripe, through any of these payment processors, you're gonna get a tax return. So that 13-year-old who flipped that PS5 for $700 is now gonna get a tax return for $700 and everything that they sell, and they have to pay taxes on that. Yeah. So they have us planned to pay that, bro. You get what I'm saying? I mean, last year I got a 1099 regardless because we did more than 20,000. But for somebody else who's just getting started, like now you're gonna have to pay taxes, Brody. Now you gotta go and you have to pay the taxes. So those are little things that people don't realize, that we're gonna pay these things back. All these overspending, they overdid it with all this ridiculous overspending that they did, paying off favors to other whatever
other countries.
We can't drop the conspiracy theories on here. We can't do that.
whatever else they got going on, right?
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to pay that back, right? And those are like little things that I've gone looking at. It's just like people are not realizing like stuff that's changing, and taxation and inflation. Inflation is the biggest taxation on the people, man. Like it's not, this inflation it's hurting the little guy the most, man. It's hurting the guy working hourly jobs because like we're contractors. We're like it's not based off an hourly pay, but guys that are based on hourly pays, inflation is eating you up. House prices.
If you work a job, like they're taking it out of your paycheck. You don't even see it,
bro. They're giving
you have it worse than me. You probably have it worse than me. You have it worse than Brandon. You have it worse than Santi. Like we have our own businesses and whatnot, but like you're probably getting more than anybody else because like you're not even seeing what they're doing to you. We at least have an idea because we run it through our tax report, and like we find ways to not have to pay or like to not avoid it, but like write it off, right? You guys
we use a system and the laws in place that they put for us there, that our forefathers left for us.
Freelance 2022. That's what my opinion. Freelance 2022. You're probably better off if you can. It's funny because it happened to my stepdad during the pandemic. Like he was working as a 1099 employee for his company, and he works as a 1099 employee. He gets fired, but then he opens up his own business, and now he takes a freelancing job from the company that fired him, and they actually gave him more work, and now he's building his own business, but he's still working with the company. So I mean, it's possible. Like, and it's not a joke. Like, it's real. Like, you can literally say, "Hey, why don't I just freelance for the company?" If you just, and you really all you got to do is just bring it up, because it's actually better for them. They don't have to pay for your employee benefits if you're a freelancer. That's all your own. That's all your own responsibility. You get on, I don't know, Obamacare if you have a business, and you're just starting off. Whatever, you get your own coverage. You get, you protect yourself, but you take that advantage of being able to launch your own business. And if any of you guys are out there and you work a job where you can easily freelance, and you're working right now for a company, consider that, because that can be the first step for you guys to get into business for yourself, and then of course be able to take advantage of the business taxation that happens when you actually work for yourself and you see 100% of the money up front, but then you got to take a percentage and then give it to the government, because it's just the right thing to do.
I mean, dude, I have no problem with paying my
me either. I've always wanted to pay tax.
Yeah, like paying taxes, dude. We live in the greatest country in the world, and I don't mind paying my share to be able to enjoy the liberties and the freedoms of this place, dude.
Yeah, your goal should be to pay tax, like realistically speaking. Because if you're paying taxes, you're making money.
I mean, banks. So on the loan brokering side, like banks don't lend people money to people who don't pay taxes, dude. You can't qualify for a mortgage. Santi just qualified for a mortgage now.
Yeah, shout out to Santi.
Shout out to Santi. Congrats.
We got to talk about that too, bro. That's how we're gonna close out this podcast. But you were saying, Brandon?
You don't get a mortgage, man, unless you pay taxes. You don't get a business loan unless you don't pay taxes, like, and so on and so forth. So I mean, so to harp on what Kevin's saying, right? Not everybody, it may not be their thing to be a freelancer or a business owner, because this shit ain't cut out for everybody, right? Everybody, it can be, but you got to be built properly and fortify this. Now, for example, let's say you're working a W2 job, right? You're working a regular 9 to 5 and you love it, and that's what you generally like what you do. What I've been seeing is what I would do if I was you, right? We're at a 30-year high of inflation, right? We're at a 6% of inflation. A lot of people are getting pay increases. Almost every job is giving people raises, bro. But they're giving you a 3% raise. They're giving you a 4% raise. They're giving you a 2.5% raise. You're still getting beat out by inflation. Your dollars are still getting beat down. So if you are going to sit there and they're going to try to offer you a raise, tell them, hey, look, I want a 6% raise, or I'm leaving to at least match me at inflation, right? So sit down with your employer and try to do the math as far as what you're getting paid. You got a 6% inflation. You need at least a 6% increase in your pay to be able to match where inflation's at. right? So sit down with your employer, figure out the math, dude, and at least get paid to where inflation's at.
Yeah.
Because like the grocery trips are getting more expensive. Like I
Oh
noticed I do
yeah.
Instacart with my groceries, and I'm like, all right, yeah,
I actually
like
tried Instacart today for the first time. It was pretty good
nice,
to buy that.
saves time.
It was hella saves time, bro. I was here. It took like an hour to get here, but I was working the whole time, and I was like, damn, this is actually pretty worth it. So
Yeah, like me and my lady, it's the easiest thing in the world. We save a lot of time.
super
Like
dope.
Alex Hormozzi actually, like I think the average woman spends like 9 to 10 hours a week, like between cooking and like grocery shopping and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
Meal
started
preps is
cooking
the next
too.
like
I started
time
cooking.
up.
I started doing HelloFresh, and that shit takes away. It. I mean, but then
Hello
again, I was
Fresh,
like spending an hour at the Puerto Tropical, uh, drive through.
Bro.
So I was
God
like, I'm
damn.
either spend it at the drive through or I spend it at the
Oh
crib
my.
cooking,
Oh
which
my God.
when it comes down to cheaper meals and stuff like that, it does end up saving you a little money. So yeah, and also you eat healthier, but that's another subject. Well, we've talked about a lot. So, I actually do want to talk about this real quick. So, I mean, we've talked about crypto, we've talked about cash reserves, we've talked about stocks, about recessions, all that stuff. Now, I want to kind of take it on and really congratulate Santi. Shout out to you, bro.
Thank you,
Closing
brother.
on your first home, bro, and being able to be called a homeowner now. Our boy is a
Hell
homeowner.
yeah.
He has a house. He's moving his beautiful family into it very, very soon. And walk us through that, bro. So, I mean, Santi, you're 23, right?
23.
Yeah, Santi's
Yeah.
23. Homeowner. How was that like? What was the buying process like this year? I mean, first and
Bro.
foremost, you can't say buying a house this year. Buying a house this year was like any other year. What was it like this year particularly? What was it like looking for a home, talking to real estate agents? Was it stressful? What was it like, man?
No, Brandon knows for a fact. He had the backhand of it yesterday, and it was intense, bro. It was a tough process. It was about like 6 months of just waiting, um, just waiting for the right deal, bro. I honestly would have suggested to do this probably like 2 years ago, of course, but at the end of the day, cash flow is the most important. If you don't have cash flow, you're not going to be able to do a bunch of things that you really want to do. Your credit score got to be on top. That's for sure. Your credit has to be above like 650, and 650 is just like you have to credit here, bro. Especially Brandon Valdez. um he will, whenever we get back on, he'll give you a whole gist
Yeah,
of that because
for those of you who don't know, Brandon does credit repair. Brandon, I'm gonna put your Instagram in the description so people can check it out. If you guys need help with anything credit wise, Brandon's your guy. He helped me with my credit. He's helped Santi with his credit, but help him get his first home at 23. So if you guys need any help with that, make sure to check the link in the description. He's gonna have his info down there. Um, and yeah, so Santi,
definitely
so buying a home stressful. How many
stressful.
real estate agents did you work with? You work with one?
Bro, we've worked with people all over, like all over South Florida. I've worked with
Yeah,
like about like six different real estate agents.
to find that
You
perfect
always
deal.
have to find that perfect deal, and then you have to make sure that you don't get hit over the head, bro, because these points be adding up if they, like, especially if you have just a FHA loan. If you just could do that, you're kind of messed up right
Cool. And
now,
so, how was it for you? Like, you're a first time home buyer. What did you take advantage of to be able to purchase your first home? Like, what did you have to save up? What was like your deposit look like? With
uh
how did that look like for you?
deposit was three deposit was like 5% of
Hmm.
the total house.
And how much was the house in
And
total?
so the total house, all right, so around that market, the houses were going for like 400. Same houses. It's a suburb neighborhood. All the houses kind of look the same. There are some double decker homes, and they were worth a little bit more. But the same crib that I was buying, but just a block away, were going for like 400 plus. And the crib that we ended up buying, thank God, it just had one owner, from 1996 currently, and she was a grandma. She didn't do no renovations to the house. It's been the same, well kept, ever since the 1996. And she just redid her roof. So that's something
So you
very
got a new
outstanding
roof too.
because I got a new roof. The air's perfect. And
No
we are going to
mold.
be no mold or anything,
Nothing.
but we are going to be putting in about like 20 grand on top of the closing costs. And the closing cost was 370, because we put in an extra 15K down, and because I was not trying to put massive amounts of money on that,
Yeah,
because I do have um other opportunities in row, and something that I really want to do is like real estate, and I really want to grow that portfolio. So I've been learning a lot, not from just you guys, but from everyone, just grabbing more information. That's the
dope.
best thing around here, you know.
Awesome, man.
and and then yeah, bro, so 20K on investments on just fixing the tile, fixing the kitchen, and doing a couple renovations, and we're looking at flipping the home in the next probably less than 2 years, and looking at an increase hopefully above like 60 to 80% increase on when we bought it, for a
Nice.
fact. And and yeah, bro, where I'm currently living, we're gonna be renting it out, and it's a location we already have, we already own, it's already paid off. So that's instant cash flow right there to our
Dope, bro.
pockets. And yeah, bro,
That's
the
awesome,
more the
man.
merrier.
Congratulations,
So
dude.
I'm getting, yeah, thank you, brother, thank you. It's been a tough journey, and honestly, I just want to thank God, bro. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And even though the pandemic hit hard on all
Hmm.
of us, family wise and emotionally, physically, it's been a great turnaround, for a fact. And I'm just grateful,
Cool,
honestly.
man. And so, as far as your real estate career, bro, I mean, I know, like I said, guys, I want you to understand, all these boys, we all do everything. The reason we called the group Cash Flow Amigos was because we do everything that produces cash flow, whether it's, credit hacks with Brandon, whether, looking into stock option plays with Santi, whether you're doing crypto with me, real estate. Eventually, I'm sure we're going to get some more real estate heads into the group, and more people that want to, teach the group, or even, share some of their stories with it. Everything in that group is about figuring out ways to make money the unconventional way, not the, go to 9 to 5, go to work. It's what to
Yeah,
do
fuck a
with the
job.
money, from 5 to 9, right? From 5 p.m. to 9 o'clock, what you do at the end of the day, right? With the rest of those funds, what are you studying? And so that's super awesome, bro. So what are you looking to do now? That you have your first property. What is it looking like for the next 5 years for you, in terms of real estate? Do you want to build a big portfolio and simply rent out? Are you looking to flip homes? What do you think you're looking into right now?
Um, so right now, I'll be, so that home is basically for my parents.
I'll tell you the truth. From the
That's the main
sounds of
thing.
it, it's a great addition to your portfolio. You can hold that home for the next 10, 15 years, bro, and you'll be happy with
Oh,
that home
dude,
on your portfolio for sure.
so for the people that don't know, we live in South Florida right now. South Florida is a hot spot.
Yeah,
Uh,
South Florida suburban homes.
it's increasing. It's increasing in population. There's a lot of money coming in here, in and out every single day.
Six
And
point 6 million
honestly,
people in Miami, by the way. I checked yesterday.
come on, bro.
Six
In
point 6 million in
Miami,
Miami, the
bro.
metropolitan Miami area. So it's
So
like
just
probably includes
imagine,
all that shit.
yeah, just imagine the cost of living. It's just gonna increase, and then we're having like one of the biggest malls gonna be in the southern hemisphere. That's gonna be literally built probably less than
I
10
heard that
miles
since we
away
were
from
in
my
high school, though.
house.
Is it really gonna get built?
Yeah, no, they already got approved,
Since we were in high school, they said they were gonna build that mall.
bro. They're doing that ASAP. It's huge. It's huge. And
Dope.
honestly, bro, I'm just excited because we we are in a market that kind of wasn't the hottest spot to be in, to start buying properties. But
You found
if
a
you
good
have the
deal.
cash flow and you find a good deal, you
Yeah.
have to be patient. You have to be patient. I swear to God, I feel like if we would have done this like 2, 3 years ago, the the type of impatience that I would have had then till now would have not matched the same energy. I would have probably
Yeah, you
gotten
probably would
into a
have
really
pulled the trigger on like
deal.
a worse deal, maybe, or maybe you would have gotten
Exactly,
a better deal,
because
not knowing. Because I mean, 3 years. I mean, 3 years ago to now, you probably would have been happy
no,
with
no,
the
no, of
house.
course, of course. Nonetheless, but
Yeah.
depending on the factor of like the interest rates and how everything was back in the day, you're always trying to save a buck wherever you go, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Pero yeah, man, just rent that location out. Maybe my parents are probably gonna rent that location out where they're at right now,
Yeah.
and in the next like 3 to 5 years, and then they'll move out to like an apartment just to retire. They want to live next to the beach, and that's something that I really want to help them out in. Now that we have this crib is gonna be under our name, and you know, you never know where the market's gonna go at the end of the day, bro. Look at this, bro. That crib was worth 100K in 1996. 100K. That shit went up 386% in the last year and a half.
Yo, I
So
lost audio. Can you guys hear me? Yo,
yeah,
Yeah,
hello, hello. Yeah, you guys can hear me. I lost my my computer. Hold on.
Computer turned off.
Yeah, I lost
But yeah,
control of my
bro.
mouse here. For some reason, I can't hear you guys either. But well, I guess the OBS software wants to end it for us. But yo, first and foremost, I do want to say thank you, Santi, for for sharing. I can't hear you at all, unfortunately, so I'm just kind of going off on a limb here. I don't know what the hell just happened with the setup, but everything's still recording, everything's still rocking. But it's been about an hour and 20 minutes. I do want to thank you guys for being a part of the episode. Just coming in, sharing, and really just giving some value. If you guys want to talk to any of us, I'm gonna also put the link to the brand new Discord chat. For those of you who don't know, I just launched a brand new Discord chat called Cash Flow Amigos. Where we're pretty much working on this community to be able to help people come together. It's 100% free. Just share, find information quickly, and really just work together. I always wanted to create a space where you can just go to and learn based on what other people are sharing. Because every day I look up on the internet brand new stuff. I find new things. Brandon might be able to find something that you weren't searching up, and he'll share it with the chat. Same way with Santi, and I mean all the guys that are in the group chat and girls that are in the group chat. Anything they bring to the table is going to add value to all of us, and so we are relying on a group effort to be able to help everybody win. And then of course we're going to be building around that community and hopefully growing it and scaling it over the course of the next couple of years. So I'm excited for that project. I hope to see that grow. And actually, I think I got control back of everything. Can I hear you guys? Can you guys talk real quick?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't hear you anyway. But with that being said, I do still want to say thank you guys for being a part of it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. You guys have been a really, really great addition to the overall just community here on the YouTube channel. You guys giving feedback and helping everyone out. It's really just it's meant a lot. It's meant a lot to me, and it's also meaning a lot to the people who are helping me build this community as well. So with that being said, thanks Brandon, thank you Santi. Once again, if you guys want to see them, join the chat. Make sure you guys join that chat. It's gonna be a really fun place to be. You guys have any last words? Anything you want to share before you go?
Nah, thank you so much for bringing us on, brother, and to more adventures in the near future for a fact. It's gonna be fun.
As far as me, man, guys, I want to leave you one last thing. Money is made with the mind, not with the hands. Made with the mind. I'll leave you guys with that. We'll wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you, Kev.
Apply pressure. Apply the pressure.
Facts.
Dale, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. See you guys in the next one.